Welcome to the Amazin Blasian Podcast. My name is Lee Bishop. Thanks for coming out tonight. Earl the Pearl Smith. Earl, what you want to call yourself?
I've been branding myself with Earl F Smith.
So, man, I want to touch on the music with you.
Okay.
Since that's...
I'm an open book. Ask me whatever you like.
Let's get on the music, bro.
Okay.
Why music? When did you get the music bug?
I think it came from birth, really. And I say that when I was young meaning like 3.
That's pretty young.
My grandfather was a pastor. He had a church in Santa Ana. So after the service, I would always wander on stage, and I would go from instrument to instrument to instrument. And then my grandmother, she was a piano player. My great aunts, they were a singing group. And then on my grandfather's side, my mom's dad, my uncle, so his brother, he was a music professor. So I had a lot of influences as a kid. But I would say that it really started when I was, that this was something I wanted to pursue. It was about when I was 15. I had this melody that was stuck in my head, and it was toying with me for a few months. And once I was able to sit down at a piano, but once I was able to get that melody out, it was a huge release for me.
Yeah.
I pinpoint to that point is where I enter into a level of consciousness of that release, and I began to really seek all that music had to offer.
Did you go to class for that? For keys?
When I was 9, I had private piano lessons for about a year and a half. So at this time, no, I had not taken any classes. The following year, I started choir. But at that moment, I began to just figure out playing on my own. I don't want to say I'm self-taught, because I've had a lot of music training, but at this point, I had a year and a half of piano lessons.
Well, I say that to say, because you took a class for conducting, as opposed to going piano, taking a class for a specific instrument. You took a class for conducting.
Well, it's not that just conducting. I mean, I studied music in college. I have a bachelor's degree in music composition with the area of commercial media writing, which is film scoring and songwriting. The requirements to get that degree was 2 different levels of conducting, choir and instrumental conducting. So, but that was later. That was in college. After that experience, I wandered into the music room at my high school, Anaheim High School, and there was a new teacher, Mr. Gibbs. He was an old teacher, but he had come back, and he heard me playing piano, and then he asked if I could sing. So he basically put me on a little audition, and then he invited me to join the choir, and then I started then, and then later Mr. Gibbs gave me some vocal lessons. So I got 3 years of music in high school before I went over into college.
Can somebody who can't sing, if they had vocal lessons, can sing after vocal lessons?
Well,
or if you either have it or you don't.
So the way I'll answer that is there are some people who are tone deaf.
Right. That's a problem.
That's a problem. But there's a lot of people who claim to be tone deaf and really aren't. We talk in pitches. So if someone's talking into a microphone and we take that audio signal and we run it through some software, you'll see that they're not tone deaf, and that's how you define it in that regard. And then the voice is a muscle. So when you ask someone, can they run? Well, a track runner usually runs fast because of their training. There's some talent there, but also their training. So developing the vocal cords as a muscle, it can be developed, and a person who may have trouble holding pitch can learn to hold pitch. Now, there's the other difference of you have singers that have a magical tone.
Right.
And that tone, that natural tone, that's something that you can't you either have it or you don't.
Right. Like a Whitney or a Monica. Like
right.
Like you just talk.
A person may not be hitting pitches, but their tone, the timbre of their voice has something unique to it that's attractive to the ear. When there's a lot of artists that are out, there's a lot about the production quality, but it also starts with that tone. And when there's a uniqueness to it that's attractive to the ear, that's when you know someone has something. And it takes a certain level of skill for a person to really recognize that through the rawness and then put that person on a path of development.
So I feel like you work with a lot of people, right?
Yeah, I've worked with quite a few
famous, not famous, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you tell somebody like they ain't got it or they do got it, or like if they ain't singing right, do you tell them to go to vocal training, or do you do vocal training? Like how do you break it down without being
well, one, I'm a listener. And what I mean by I'm a listener, I don't just listen to what a person's saying. I'm also listening to their body. So as I'm talking to someone, I'm listening to them wholly.
Right.
And
that's deep.
Based on that, I choose the words that I say. And just because someone, I don't think they have a level of talent to be something incredible, doesn't mean that what I think will determine their career. And there's so many different levels and there's so many different things a person can do. I think it would be fair for me to pass judgment on someone. I can...
Fair or unfair? You mean...
Yeah, it's unfair to sit there and say, I don't think you should do this, search for something else. Because if that person has a passion for it, there's so many different things. Because you could take someone who doesn't have a great timbre, and if they're studying composition and vocal harmonies and come up with something very unique and different in vocal arrangements, and their songs are built off those vocal arrangements, well, the vocal arrangements can become something unique and something attractive, but it would take from their own pathway and their own discovery to get to that level, and how much work they're willing to put into it and how much they believe in themselves. So if someone is really passionate about something and they want to do it, I say you do it, no matter what someone says. If someone tells you no, that shouldn't be the reason. If you feel in your heart that that's something you want to do, you should do it. I think if, you get to the end of your life and you're on your deathbed and you always had a desire to do something or try something and you never did it, what an awful feeling.
I think the regret really is horrible.
What an awful feeling. But I would say, for me, I think at this point, a lot of people recognize my hard work and my skill level. But, I was one of those that I was discouraged not to do music. It's different now. Well, I think because what the belief everyone has is that music is a far-off fantasy to make it a career. And when you're dealing with audio and you're dealing with sounds, there's so many different areas and so many different things a person can do in creating a career. And I think those people, a lot of times, that discourage, they have a certain level of ignorance of not knowing or understanding the industry and how many different areas a person can go into to create a career, whether they have a raw natural talent or they don't.
So was this from family or from friends or from both? Like where
from
you get
both?
From both. From
I got a lot of persecution from a lot of people growing up. Definitely from both family and friends.
To not do this.
Yeah, to not do it. I got laughed at about it. I mean, to go on and say those same people. Some of them I still contact, because of Facebook and
right.
And their level of respect is on a different level now. There's a wow there and saying glad I stuck with it. And I have their support now. I worked hard. It made me work hard. I'm a hard worker.
This is facts.
I don't take no for an answer. And I feel blessed that God has blessed me with some of the skills and talents that I have. But a lot of it's based on my hard work.
There's a level of made it, didn't make it. I know I feel like a lot of people who didn't make it become either family men or record agents or something. You know what I mean? Do you feel like, are you trying to make it, quote unquote? Do you like where you're at? how far do you want to go with this? I know personally with me, you discuss EPs and albums and working together and doing this and that, but like you're not well known, you know what I'm saying? Like, how far do you want to take this or keep going, or you know what I'm saying? Like, this is in your heart, you're always going to do it, obviously, but if you don't make it or you do make it don't matter, right?
Well,
like, you want to live off of this.
Well,
obviously
I have been living off this. Past 10 years I've been living purely off of music.
Right. Doing doing what?
Before I answer that question, let me say, a lot of people, make this mention of making it. Some people tell me, Earl, you've made it. Some of those people that criticize me in school, they're like, wow, Earl, you've made it. And there's other people that say, when you make it, or you made a mention, I'm not well known. I don't know. I in certain areas, in certain communities, I think I'm pretty well known. So, with different people, where is that line of making it? I've said this to a lot of my clients. They're like, when I make, I say, you've already made it. You're in the industry. It's just where you are. So for me, I'm a person of growth. There is no making it to me. I made it when I was 5 and I did my first show in front of 2,000 people. That was making it. For the past 10 years, I've been purely living off of music. Now, what do? So I run my own studio. It's a high-end studio. So with that, I'm recording all different types of genres of music, and that's for me engineering and producing. In my studio and others, I do a lot of sound design for films, indie films, as well as big releases. And sound design meaning cleaning up the audio from on-set recording, and adding Foley and mixing. Also in different genres, say for instance thrillers or horrors, I'm using sound effects and other sound things to create a score to enhance the picture. I'm composing music for film and TV. And I'm a songwriter. And currently I've been a vocalist, and now I'm putting a band together, and I am going to be performing and recording as an artist and releasing my own material. So these are the things that I'm doing right now as far as in the music. I'm also building gear, high-end microphones, mic pre's, and compressors, and for certain individuals can hire me and I will build them certain gear,
like custom made gear.
Yeah, or taking something they've had and modifying it. Most of my stuff has been modified. I modify everything, and it gives me a unique sound that separates me from others.
What are your thoughts on the industry, the music industry in Los Angeles?
Right now, for me, the music industry, it's exciting. I always consider the past, but I'm also always looking towards the future. And right now, we're on a new cusp, because you have Netflix, who's buying content. You have Amazon, who's buying content.
I love Amazon.
Now you have Facebook buying content. So, these are companies that have a lot of money that are buying content. So it leaves an open field for independent filmmakers who are making short films or making features, composers, all this content. They need music for that. With that, you have a lot of indie filmmakers who need music in their film but doesn't understand fully what a composer does, to where a composer scoring music to their picture hitting events. They don't understand that, so they're looking for songs. So this opens up for a lot of songwriters. With technology the way it is, there's an open field where people are buying gear. They may not have the knowledge of what to actually use, but they're at least taking a step forward, and they're buying gear and trying to fulfill their own passions in creating content. So within that, technology now is allowing people to make really good quality at home without a lot of money.
Facts.
Yeah, so depending on how much work and how much a person's willing to be educated in the technology and in their craft, in my opinion, depends on how good their content is. But it opens the field up for people to have excellent content. And we're no longer, in my eyes, the industry is no longer these few people who have been the gatekeepers and people being able to release something. And so for myself, I was exposed to, major labels early on, and I decided to go a path where I was not in a position where I had a person stamping me and controlling my creativity. So in this way I can be free and to say what I want to say, free to be influenced the way I wanted to be influenced. And now the way the industry is, there's such a direct connect between the creator and the listener or the consumer. You don't need the gatekeepers.
Nope.
And there's a lot of power in that.
Yep.
And so for me, where the industry is now, it's exciting. And every day I'm just more excited to create more and more material. And I
think I like not to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But I think I like the fact that you don't gotta be in Los Angeles to be noticed, I guess, because you could be on YouTube. What other platforms are there?
There's SoundCloud,
Vimeo, SoundCloud, Mixcloud. I'm on Mixcloud. Like, you ain't got to come to LA to make noise. Somebody's gonna find you. I found a cat on Mixcloud, some white cat who makes he went back to the boom bap beats, and it's fantastic. He ain't out here, and he's getting a lot of notoriety. It's slowly climbing, but I think he's gonna get there just off of the beats, man. And that's what I like. And when you say gatekeepers, I fully support this new movement, because I can just see some fat guy just saying, no, I don't want that. He ain't gonna get no money from me, blah blah blah. Like, we don't need that now.
Yeah.
All these indie people, Mac Miller, who else? Chance. Like, I just hope they see that and getting scared. You know what I'm saying? Because like, now we're getting more quality music. Now that does leave room for the boo boo, and that's a problem, because I feel like there's more boo boo than there is better content. But like, whatever.
That's true. Yes, there's
it's like
the industry. Yeah,
there's like people who can't sing. Nobody's gonna tell them they can't sing, because maybe they got a hit because the song's so retarded, but it's catchy. And it's like, you know this guy can't sing, but nobody in the studio is they don't know any better because of education or lack of education, of sound quality or whatever. And it's just not. I hate that. And that's where I feel like the label would come in, and media training. These cats don't got media training, and they can't do a good interview. You know what I'm saying? Whereas before, the label would be like, we'll give you media training so you can talk to the public and not sound like a dumbass. And that's lost now because the labels are dying. That's the only thing I hate. That's it.
Well, I try not to pass judgment. I try really hard not to do that. And going, well, I'm not saying that you are, but I'm just saying for myself. But going back to what I was saying earlier about someone having a uniqueness to their voice, because there's been some songs that I've heard. I mean, they just recorded awful, but it was just a dope song. I mean, the song was just incredible, and nothing mattered. It didn't matter that there was some of the vocal pitches were out of tune. It's nothing mattered. It was just a really incredible song. And just the way it sonically sounded, it didn't sound the best, but there was just certain uniqueness to it that was just incredible. And I think about it, so, if I went back and and say for instance, I had signed this individual, and I would go reproduce the song, on great mics and great mic pre's and working in ProToolz, and I don't know if the song would still have its magic.
I feel that.
And so
I said like MF Doom, when MF Doom first came out, there was no mastering. The songs felt like they were like cleverly put together, but not the best equipment, and it made for a good album. Like if it was fixed and mastered, like it wouldn't sound the same. We wanted that grittiness. Right. We love that grittiness.
Right.
But then you have like producers like Teddy Riley, and Teddy Riley will tell you like he can't sing, but he knows his notes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and Pharrell too. I don't think Pharrell can sing either, but he gets a pass for some reason. But his song like Frontin', you're not gonna front on Frontin'. It's a good song.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So but there, I don't know. It's a fine line to me.
Well, it's art.
Some of it is,
and there's a lot of different types of art. I know what I would do and what I wouldn't do, but that's me. Yes, I think the industry, when we look at as the whole, it is, it's just engulfed with a lot of material, and a lot of material that's not great, and which makes it harder for people to find, good content, good, strong content. But, it has its challenges, and, that's where marketing comes in. And there's other people that, didn't necessarily, their creativity, I feel, needs some work. But there can be genius in marketing. And in that regard, a lot of people know them. They may be selling a lot. So, the best basketball player is not in the NBA. I strongly believe that. As well as the best singer, the best songwriter, may not be popular. In my opinion, it's a complete package for someone to be successful in the music business. No matter where they are, whether they're independent or they're in a major label, it's a complete package. People can climb up to the top and fizzle out real quick. Also, climb up quick and fizzle out quick. Do interviews and say some awful things that really they may not necessarily mean, but just getting caught up in the emotion and just the immaturity of it.
Facts.
And then they X themselves out and all their fans leave. But it's a matter of people at this point, I think, have more control over their creativity, and for me, that's exciting. So whether a person wants to do some research or work on their maturity level and presenting themselves for a longevity career, it really rides on that individual. And, no one's perfect. We all make mistakes. And sometimes those mistakes can be great marketing tools. We look at Kanye West, when he got up there and says Bush doesn't like black people.
Facts.
He took a hit on that, and then when
he
got up
took
there,
a hit on, like, not in the black community, he did.
Well, and I mean, at the time, we look at who was buying records. A lot of people, for the longest time, used white women buy records. Now it's different, but. Also, too, when Kanye, got up there and did that thing on Beyonce's video and with Taylor Swift, he took a hit on that, too. But
that was bigger.
Yeah, that Taylor, I mean, that did big for her career. So, you never know if some things are planned or not. Some things are marketing. That's one thing is I look at Madonna. Madonna is, here are her early stuff. She's not the best vocalist, but she has some great songs. The production is killer.
Yep.
And she's an amazing marketer.
Yeah.
Amazing. And
she takes fantastic photos.
Yeah. And so, it still comes back to, it's up to the individual. The person's art, you can turn it into a business. And you can have some people that don't realize that, and they're just doing what they're doing, and they make some mistakes and rise quick and fall quick. And there's others that will run it like a business and take their product or their creativity, and be careful with it. It's up to the individual, really. And that's what's exciting to me about today's industry, and the tools that are out, and how we're able to reach the consumer now versus 30 years ago, 50 years ago. If you look at the models, or things are different now, and we have a lot of access to a lot of information.
I just looked up contracts online, and there's like a bunch of images on Google, like contracts. Like I think that's dope.
Yeah.
Explain to me, and you've explained this to me, but explain to me, for the people out there, being an indie artist, getting paid correctly for your quality of work. You know what I mean? Like, personally, you've talked to me about people not paying or not paying enough because they don't get the quality of the work and what you put into it, right? But explain to people, like, you just can't ride shit for free. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean.
And I feel like you're the perfect person to explain that, because you've called me many times and vented to me, and I appreciate that. But I just find it weird, like, people don't get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it took me a while to get that too, because I'd be like, you gotta do things for free, blah blah blah. But there comes a time where, like, I feel like if you keep doing that, then those people will keep getting away with not paying other people the proper payment. But explain to me, the quality and content of your services and why you should get paid the way you do. Because one time you said some outlandish price, and I was like, man, that's crazy. I wouldn't pay that, but I get it. I get it now, but I wouldn't pay that. Go ahead.
I mean, that's where, this area, I think, is a strong area for, anybody trying to pursue a career in the entertainment industry, no matter what area, whether it's video, audio, dancing, no matter what area, painting. There's a certain level when you know your craft, and you get to a certain level where you begin to attract people. You become good enough to where people are being attracted. To have the skill to be able to educate your potential customer or your potential client is very valuable. I believe that is the one skill that has made and break a person. I think that's the one skill that has made me, because I'm good at what I do.
Facts.
Not to sound arrogant.
That's okay.
Because I try to be as humble as I can be.
You're very humble.
Thank you.
Kendrick Lamar.
But for me, the way I'm able to pay my bills and doing what I love to do has been educating my potential clients of why things are priced the way they are, and doing that to a level that is sensitive and is non-aggressive. Because when a person understands why a price is put at its price, and how much time it takes, and how much money the equipment cost, and how much effort was put in to obtain the equipment, to give them the level of quality that they want. Because in the end, people want quality. They want to present whatever they're working on as it being professional, that it's not boo-boo, that people will take them serious. And so when people are coming to me for a service, they're wanting something that will present them to the world a level that is attractive. And so based on that level that they want to be presented is how I price things. And it's basically priced based on how much time I put into it, or how much time is needed to be put into it. Now, I don't do half-ass work. I don't do boo-boo work. And I have had some people say, okay, just throw something together. I don't just do that. I will not cheat my listeners. I will not take money, because what I do not do it for money, and it shows. I'm very passionate. I love what I do. I love giving quality. I put my all into everything. Doesn't mean that it's going to require a super amount of time, but what I do it professionally. And so people who come to me, that's what they're looking for. And based on that is how it's priced. So for me, the way I've done it is by educating the potential client. And I think that's with you, Bishop, as you know, some of the conversations we've had, or if I've had some, frustrating clients. But there's this level of radio. I think it started with radio. You could turn on the radio and you don't have to pay anything to listen to music, to listen. So
now it's Spotify and
now Spotify and Pandora and some of these others, but
YouTube.
People don't always realize those commercials. People are influenced by those commercials, and those commercials get people interested in the products. So in the level of music and audio is attracting listeners for sales. And so when a person begins to understand that, so say for instance, I have a person come up to me and they want me to score their independent film and they don't have money. Not to say that I will just be like, no, get out of here. I say, well, what do you have? And they look at me funny like, well, I say, well, you said you have no money. Well, what's your skills? And I give an example. I scored a film called Average American, and the writer-director, and this was a woman I knew and I trusted. She had a very kind heart, and I wanted to help her. But I couldn't work for free. As a single parent, I just couldn't work for free. So with her, I found out what she was willing to do. And so I bartered with her on babysitting.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah. So I calculated what it would cost to score her film. I also did the sound design for her film. I calculated what it would cost based on time. And then we put a value to an hourly rate on babysitting, and we made it comparable. And we did a contract on that. And that worked very well for me because I wanted to go out on the weekend. I had a business to conduct, and I needed a babysitter. And so that was great. So when a person begins to understand that, just like in the times before, the world was dealing with cash, people bartered. And so it's just that now people just have to understand the value. And I think it's up to you as an artist to get your potential client to understand why your product has been placed with a certain value. And so for me, it's me educating my client. Even in my albums and music that I'm working on, a level of that in my songwriting, I'm educating my potential listener. For instance, I'm working on a book called Beating the Biased, How This Father Got Full Custody. And I'm writing this book as a story of my story, my thoughts, why I did what I did, why I chose to make the decisions I made. But really in that, I'm educating, saying, hey, you want to be in your child's life? The court system may have a certain level of bias, but if you know how to maneuver in it, you too can have your desire. And for me, my strongest desire was to spend as much time as I could with my child and make sure my child is safe and healthy, because my child's a reflection of me.
Facts.
And that was a strong passion of mine. So, but in my book, there's a certain level in the story I'm educating. And I'm helping. A big part is that's me wanting to help through what I have to offer the world.
Okay. All right. There's a big news. You are leaving. Explain to me the benefits of moving back to Sacramento. I'm excited for you. And I'm excited for you because you've been wanting to do this for a while. And now that it's happening, I'm just happy for you because you seem more happier. And you show me the space, the ugly space. I saw pictures of it, and I can't wait till it gets cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, share with me, goddammit.
Well, I don't want to say, I don't want to put it as I'm leaving, because I'm not leaving. I'm relocating my child is really what I'm doing. But all my work that I'm doing in LA will still remain. I'm from Orange County, which is, according to Sacramento, is, like Elk Grove. Is Elk Grove not a part of Sacramento? Well, is Orange County not a part of LA? I think it kind of is. I mean, me being from Orange County and everyone I know from Orange County would argue against that. But I think for me at this level, I'm starting to realize, Orange County really is LA, even though it's not technically LA County. I have a lot of strong ties here, but my plan is really to go back and forth. Being close to my family to help with my child frees me up to travel. I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of material that I've been working on for the past 10, 15 years that I want to release. So I'm moving in my life into a place of completion. And so I'm removing chaos, a chaotic atmosphere, and removing certain pressures so I can internalize into a space, into this building that I will be in South Sacramento, where I will begin to complete a lot of material. I have quite a few albums that are almost done. I need to mix them. I need to add little elements to them. So I plan to do that there, while my family is helping out with my child. I will be there completing these projects, but that doesn't mean I'm not here. If not every week, it will be every other week, at least 3-4 days out of the week. I will be here in LA, just going back and forth. I mean, this week alone, well, let me say the past 10 days, I've gone to Sacramento and back 4 times.
You don't think you're going to get tired of that?
Well,
are you driving?
I'm driving.
Yeah.
Flying is nothing. It's 45 minutes away.
True. But that's also money.
Yeah, it's not that much. $80
to fly?
Yeah, I found round trip tickets for $82.
On what?
Southwest. So plan it right. But I don't want to pin it that's what it is. I'm riding the wave of life. And what's most important is the level of completion. I want to have my first draft of my first book, the first draft done by the first of the year. I have 3 other records I want to have done by October. I'm also working on a tutorial on how to clean up audio for indie films. I want to have that done by the first of the year. These projects are projects that I've been very passionate about and that I have not been able to do since I've been here. Just the hustle bustle of dealing with all the work that I'm working on. Currently, the biggest project I'm working on is Space Command. This is with Mark Zickery and Elaine Zickery. You can check out some of their work, spacecommand.com. So, that's happening here in LA. We have a meeting every week. So I plan to be at that meeting, if not every week, every other week. My daughter will be seeing her mother, and some of those visits are in Los Angeles every month. So I'll be down here for that. So it's kind of hard for me to really focus around I'm leaving. I don't think I'm leaving. I am relocating my child because my child will be going to school in Folsom. I am real excited about the community in the Sacramento County. There's a lot of talent there. And I want to discover some of that talent. I want to tap in with it. I want to work with some people. Folsom has a very strong vocal jazz community. This is something I want to tap into. I have some friends that are in the Bay Area. This will enable me to work with them more. I'm planning to go to the Philippines in October. I'm connecting with some talent there. The first of the next year, I'm planning to go to Japan. These are things have been really hard to try to put into play with me 100% in Los Angeles. Just, going 2 weeks to the Philippines, I need someone to watch my daughter that I can trust. But so relocating my daughter to Folsom, being by my mother, enables me where I can do that and not worry. As long come down to LA and work for a week really hard and be able to give things the time that they need and give it the full attention of the skills that I have to offer on these projects. So in this regard, for me, it's a step up, and that's the excitement that you're hearing. I feel I have a lot to offer people, projects, and it's tough to balance it all. And I make choices. I've made choices. I've been asked to work on Avatar under Aaron Martin. I turned that down because of the responsibility that I'm dedicated to in raising my daughter. So with this type of help and relocating my daughter to Folsom enables me to step into a new realm. I also made this decision because I think it'll enable a stronger connection and visitation between my daughter and her mother. Looking at it from a psychological standpoint, sometimes people feel like they're leaving, so then it pulls a stronger connection to connect. And that relationship has been very broken. This is also, in that situation, trying something new, trying something that my daughter can benefit from. So I just have a hard time saying I'm leaving. I don't feel like I'm leaving at all. I think I'm actually more connecting this way than ever. And I'm real excited about it. Especially some of this material that I'm going to be releasing. Just the production level, the writing. I feel like a lot of my music comes from a different approach because I've chosen to be on the outside of dealing with the gatekeepers, where I have a relationship with gatekeepers, but I'm not under their stamp. In this way, my influence is different. And I'm excited to share that and see what that will do to the consumer or any fan.
Well, I'm excited because I've heard a lot of your stuff, and I can't wait for the world to hear it too. Earl, I'd like to thank you for coming on my podcast.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
Is there any social media you'd like to share with the audience?
Everything's under my name. I'm branding my name, Earl F Smith. You can Google that. My Facebook is Earl F Smith. My YouTube is Earl F Smith. My SoundCloud is Earl F Smith. My website is earlfsmith.com. Everything will lead you to these different links. But yeah.
Any last words?
Yeah, look out for YouTube. I'm going to be reviewing different equipment, especially the microphones that I'm building. And from there, I welcome any questions, any criticism, any comments, and I'm going to be responding to those. Like I was mentioning earlier, a lot of it's about information. And if people are hungry for that information, I want to be able to provide that. And these are some ways that, start conversations, because it's all about conversations.
And I also feel like you're the perfect person for that because, I've personally learned a lot from you. And I don't take that for granted. And you got a lot of stuff to share, bro. And, I think the YouTube idea is, like, perfect. The book makes sense. The music is just, can't wait for people to hear it. And, man, I'm excited for
awesome.
You. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, brother. We out. Amazin Blasian, Lead Bishop, Earl F Smith. I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you too.
All right. That was dope, man.